Welcome, strategy game enthusiasts, to a lovely video where I will be exposing the truth. Something that I feel like every single person suspected. You know, Pokemon is a game that is famous for its explicit political commentary in Unova. But something that many people do not realize is that Pokemon Generation 6, X and Y, was actually the game that came out immediately after Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, often considered to have had their most in-depth story. But what I'm going to be arguing here today is that actually it was the Kalos region.
2 has the most in-depth story? What? Black 2, White 2 is like a LARP.
A LARP?
A LARP, I don't know, Black 2, it's like Black and White you'd say, but honestly it's probably,
Sure, but you have to, again, the narrative.
Arceus has an actual story.
Dude, I'm still working on my memes from fucking 2011, okay?
I'm ruining everything.
So everyone said that Pokemon X and Y was secret, was very shallow, like a Saturday morning cartoon fare. But actually, I'm here to expose that they were secretly a deep and dark, and I think to many parents who unknowingly bought their children these Pokemon games, disturbing lore underneath there the entire time. And I feel like to save us from this secret and nefarious instance, that we really are going to need an absolutely classic team of heroes. So my theory, and I feel like this is exposed in the lore. No, let me just finish making this one statement, and then I will go to the peanut gallery. My theory is that Wulfric Stormcloak here is actually John Calvin. Okay, peanut gallery.
Yeah, I'm just going to confirm what you said before, because, you know, before, you know, like, I was just a young, you know, I was a young 27-year-old when this game came out.
You were not 27.
And then after my mum bought me a copy of Pokemon Y, because I'd been a really, really good, I did my washing, you know, did some dishwashing as well. I washed the dishes and hung out my washing. I was a really good boy, so, you know, she bought me this. And then I became a staunch communist right after playing it, like right after.
That's not John Calvin.
Third gym, I became a staunch communist, so there's definitely some sort of political message there. I also then, like, unaged, like, about at least 10 years. But, you know, I became a staunch communist at that point and managed to reverse the aging process.
So anyways, John Calvin was a leading figure in the Protestant Revolution, which overturned the Catholic order of Central and Western Europe, following in the steps of previously Jan Hus in Prague and fucking Martin Luther in... Where did Martin Luther's like a 10 precepts thing? It's not precepts, whatever it's called.
Honestly, he must have been a communist though, because I mean, he made me communist.
95 Theses. Where did he put his 95 Theses? Was it... I know it was somewhere in... Wittenberg. No, he was a professor in Wittenberg, but that's not where he put it. Because he put it on one of the... I don't know, did he not actually leave his thoughts... Was that kind of like an expression? To minds.
I have no idea, man.
To minds. Okay, yeah. Anyways, so John Calvin basically was dictator of a region of Switzerland for a period of time, and Calvinism was quite popular. Basically, Snowbelle City is in the Switzerland adjacent region of Kalos, and Wulfric famously cries at Bryson Man movies.
That's so good though. Bro.
I think
Bryson Man 3 Civil War. Oh.
You know what this is? It's Ice Beam. This move has an accuracy of 100%. Not only that, but every once in a while it will freeze the target it hits too. I hope you've learned a valuable lesson today. Being rigid can make you tough, but it will also render you fragile. You're better off being flexible. No, you know what I mean? Some people are fluid like water and can adapt to their environment without changing what's important on the inside. Not me though. I guess I'm too stubborn. Maybe that's why I love ice types. So that, you know, you may have thought that was actually an excerpt from like the Genevan Psalter, but actually, the entire time, that was a quote from Wulfric Stormcloak. Ultimately, I thought this was a relatively fun gym. It's really, really dumb that he only has 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't like.
But I thought the gym structure was pretty good. It was like the puzzle test where you fight thing. But like it was not a difficult fight. But I also don't think I tend to frequently have difficult fights in like the 8th gym, unless they're like Raihan. I think Raihan was the only one I remember being particularly difficult.
8th gym. Gen 3. Not Wallace, the person that replaced Juan's actually pretty tough.
That's fair.
Wallace is actually also tough in Ruby and Sapphire just because of how strong Melodic is.
I feel like the problem is that by the time you get to an 8th gym, I tend to have I tend to have a team consisting mostly of fully evolved Pokemon. That tend to have decent movesets.
Claire's okay as well.
Claire is not difficult. Claire is one of the characters that, you know, Claire's got one of those
the electric,
you know, that she's written in a way like it's like the classic thing of like, okay, you have two characters of like a female character and a male character that are in a related position, where the female character is like really whingy or naggy, and then the male character is more like chill and whatever. And then that is exactly Claire's characterization. Like they took a criticism of one of like the ways that is considered like most offensive to write a female character, and like, maybe that's what we'll do with our gym leader.
I suppose. I mean, this was in the 90s.
Bulbapedia's fucking okay. Do you know when Bro wrote?
And in Japan.
Yeah, it was. You know, this was in the 90s. You know, fucking, you know, by that time, Akira Toriyama had invented the concept of running female characters through it that were actually good.
Okay. Just trying to.
You know, they had like a Kasumi in the anime.
Who's the 8th gym, Gen 5? It's, oh, yeah, no, the Dragon gyms in Gen 5 is also kind of tough. Haxorus is... Actually, it's not that tough. Now that I think about it. Yeah, no, I really think it might just be like Gen 3, possibly Gen 5, because the Electric gym is really easy in Gen 4. Wait, is it easy in Platinum? Oh, who cares?
So I don't know which is the highest level gym leader in the current league. So let me just brain through it. So Claire, yeah, I don't know Wally. I think Grusha's the highest level gym leader. Grusha was also ice type and therefore not a challenge. Ryan was only a challenge because it was a doubles game. I guess Kamalo was a pretty scary guy, though I don't think that was the 8th. I think that was, and in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon it wasn't even the last. But you know, the Kamalo totem was quite intimidating, and it was the last in Sun and Moon. And then the Ribombee totem was very, very painful as well. I guess Crasher Wake. Crasher Wake's not the easiest gym leader.
Crasher Wake is not a what?
Dude, I'm just looking at a list of things, and then the orders seem to be random.
Yeah, Crasher Wake is like the 4th gym leader.
That is very true. Why is the list random? Okay, so some of them, it's got the last gym leader last, but then some of them, it just says random. Okay. Why can't people just have them in, like, the order that I'm asking for them in?
Okay, we should fucking do this draft rectangle, bro.
But, yeah, so Missing No, my beloved. So these two are the same person. So needed a real team of heroes. So that's why I went with the Justice Society of America, famous from they're making fun of it in the end of Shazam 2. For some reason, I don't know why they made fun of it at the end of Shazam 2. Like, it was just really. It seemed like the exact opposite of Black Adam, where they had the Justice Society come in and like be very significant part of the story. Then in Shazam 2, they just made fun of it for some reason. Like, I'm still just absolutely baffled by that decision. I get that it's a fake out for Justice League, but you know, this is Lightning. I couldn't find a good picture of her from a comic thing, but the rest of them are comic versions. But she's in the show Black Lightning, which is about her dad, but also her and her sister. I've heard the show was okay, not particularly great, but Lightning was pretty good in the like rebooted Justice Society. I quite like the New Earth stuff. She's got electric powers, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
She's the younger sister. Thundurus the older sister.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, there's no way.
I don't know if that's true in Black Lightning.
And a bunch of I thought she could just turn into.
I actually really like the suit costume design in the Black Lightning show. I haven't watched it because it's not on anything that I'm aware of streaming in Australia, but I really do like the costume design.
Yeah, but about the Pokemon, isn't Iron Hand just kind of broken?
So look, I thought Iron Hands is really broken, and then someone who I'm recording a video with talking about Pokemon that we think are good said that actually they think Iron Hands is not as good as I thought it was. So I'm very interested to hear their side of it. They think it's the 5th best Pokemon in the format, whereas I think it is the 1st best Pokemon in the format. So,
okay.
It's a pretty different. Like I would say that is a very big dispute, but may not necessarily be about Iron Hands. The problem I had when I drafted Iron Hands, because I think I was like pick 5, was Iron Hands works with like every comp, so I had no direction and I didn't know what to do with my team. So it's like, Iron Hands is good with like basically any Pokemon ever, because it's just a very fundamentally solid and well-rounded Pokemon, where it's got incredible bulk, it's got very solid support, its damage is very consistent, and it's also very good at abusing basically any support. So I was sitting here with Iron Hands, with Lightning, and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I asked Keith, and then Keith, I think, recommended me a Pokemon that was taken, Mousehold, and then I asked the Jordan, and the Jordan recommended a Pokemon that was already taken, Volcarona, and since neither of them were there, I picked up a different Pokemon. Sableye. I picked up Sableye because actually I don't remember why.
I mean, it's as
got
fast as Strudel.
It's the same speed. No, it isn't. Sableye's 50 speed. It was Klefki that was the same speed.
Then.
Yes, it's slower than Strudel. Yes, I didn't ever say Sableye was faster than Strudel. In fact, I didn't mention Sableye in that conversation.
Yeah, it's worse than Strudel.
So this is Dr. Fate. Pierce Brosnan. No, it's slightly better than Strudel because it can't be faked out or prankster taunted. Dr. Fate, he does the funny hand things. I don't really love the way that the particle effects work in this particular version of the thing, but it's the only one I could see where he was actually doing like the funny hand Dr. Fate things. He doesn't even have like a floating arc. What are they doing? What are they doing these days? But in some of them I had to get like just fan art, so I'll take it. Sableye, it has dual screens, which are really, really good with Iron Hands. It's got prankster damage reduction, like with Wisp as well. It can also like Quash, which Iron Hands is really good at removing individual targets, so that can be very impactful. And I think it might get Screech, I'm not sure. But it is mostly, I think, there to support a lot of the rest of my team. The idea is that I would get 2 very high top tier support Pokemon that also have decent damage, because Stab Foul Play is quite good, and Snarl is fine, and Shadow Sneak is, still a priority stab ghost move. And Dr. Fate is known for just doing whatever bullshit he wants, so that's why Dr. Fate is Sableye. Rest in peace, Pierce Brosnan's character in the Black Adam.
No, that's a good analogy. Sableye, I mean, it's a VGC sort of mainstay, I guess, for a reason. It's a very
no gravity in this format, though, which was the main reason that it was classically a mainstay.
It's
either way,
pretty good.
Let's get on to Liberty Belle. There was no good PNG of Liberty Belle, so this is what we've got. I didn't even realize that Liberty Belle was such a relatively obscure character, mostly because when it comes to any of these female characters that have been around for a while, there tends to be a lot of horny fan art about them, and there was a little bit, but it mostly wasn't PNGs, so there wasn't even something I could vaguely use, which was a bit tragic. I actually think Liberty Belle was a pretty decent character, especially, I mean, I prefer the second Liberty Belle, but I kind of am stuck with the first one here. But, she punches hard. It's funny. Actually, it's been a while since I read the specific comic that I'm referring to, so, Justice Society. I was inspired by, by James to do one where named after comic book characters, but I wanted to go with a specific team.
That's cool. Sandy Shocks is broken. I've decided because they're all broken.
Oh, but, she gets enhanced speed, strength, and stamina when the Liberty Bell rings.
Oh, and just like how Sandy Shocks can get better
boost energy. Yeah, no, that was the idea. I forgot what powers she got. I just remember that she got powers when the Liberty Bell rings. The Liberty Bell is in the US somewhere.
Yeah, no, it
Philadelphia, I think. It's got a crack on it, which is also on like her suit there, but you can't really see it because of the ankle.
Oh, I forget. There's an episode of some like sitcom that I watched like a couple months ago, and they licked the Liberty Bell.
They licked it.
How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, might have been how.
That does sound like a How I Met Your Mother thing, or 2.5 Men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
Sandy Shocks is good. It's got gravity that say why lost, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's true. I have gravity so that my iron hands can stop missing close combat.
Yep. After it's been sand attacked, obviously.
Yep. I didn't get a great abuser for gravity, to be honest. But Cloyster, it's Cloyster, Sandy Shocks. It's fast and it's strong, and all the ground types are going. I kind of was very reactive this draft because there was just an absurd amount of points. There were way too many points. Like, there weren't way too many, but they were pretty close to it. So basically, everyone just drafted an obscene number of top and high mid tiers. So you just kind of Liberty Bell was ranked 63rd in Comic Buyer's Guide's 100 Sexiest Women in Comics list in 2011.
Oh.
I hate bits of comic book fans.
Cool question. If we are ready to move on to the next one, where does Power Girl rank?
I have no idea, but probably very high. She's generally got a very obvious boob window. Power Girl is Supergirl, but from Earth 2. Justice Society is like the Earth 2 guys. I didn't put Green Lantern because I never green character. I'm saying this like people watching are going to be like, why didn't you include this specific Justice Society of America character? Even though they're absolutely not going to. Power Girl is Power Girl. She can fly and do all the Superman things. Actually, I don't know if she can shoot. I don't know if she has laser eyes. I genuinely would not be shocked if she did, and would not be shocked if she didn't. But I hate, like, again, it's probably like fucking number 3 in that 100 Sexiest Women in Comics list. Let's control F sexiest to see if I... 9th! She was 9th in the 100 Sexiest Women in Comics list. Why? Sorry, not why. Like, I don't... she's very, very, like, overly sexified character. But I think she's, like, occasionally okay. So she does have heat vision.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, quite decent in the comics, but her dressing is just, it's... I don't
know any of these characters, so I can't...
I've got a greater degree of sensitivity. I was surprised you didn't know Power Girl, because Power Girl is
seen her before.
So goddamn popular in horny posts.
I've seen her boob window before.
Yeah. Also, she's the boob window because it reminded me of in the game when you have face chasing down the giant Orthworm and you have to follow like bits of it peeking out of the ground. That was my thought process there. It was actually the thought process that came to me doing the Justice Society in general. But yeah, she's okay. Supergirl of Earth 2. Here's Jade. Jade got deleted in one of the funny retcons in things, so they wanted to make the comics more like inclusive, so they made a character who had 2 kids that were very impactful, retroactively gay, and thus deleted the characters from the kids from example. The gay writing was like, okay, he definitely is a character that you wouldn't have been shocked to find out was gay. But it was also like, oh, the Green Lantern, but not any of the main Green Lanterns, the Justice Society Green Lantern, who was nowhere near as popular, and thus less of a risk to our brand image. But also still a bunch of people are going to complain about it, even though, the only thing that happens is that Jade, who honestly hadn't been relevant in 10 years, and then the fucking Jade's Jade's brother Obsidian hadn't been relevant in like 15, 16, you know, maybe even 20 years before that, you know, like, it's a bit sad. I remember like a very, very brief stint of relationship with Kyle Rayner, and like that was about it. But Jade's pretty cool. She's got powers that are related to the Green Lantern powers in some vague way. Hatterene's really good as well. I think I'm a lot more jaded about the Justice Society than I realized when I was nicknaming these Pokemon.
Well, that's not a great sign for this entire sort of season, is it?
No, I mean, I'm just frustrated with comics as an industry sometimes.
Hatterene, though, is a good Pokemon. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about...
Speaking of horny posting...
We didn't talk about Orthworm, did we?
Oh yeah, sorry, Orthworm is a steel type. All of the other steel types were going, so I picked up Orthworm. It was probably not a reasonable decision. It's got high physical defense. It's immune to ground, yeah, with Earth Eater, so it heals when it's hit by ground move, which is good when you have two very powerful ground weaknesses. It has a fly resist. No, not that wasn't the flying resist. There was something that saw stats. Fairy resist. I'm super into fairy at this point.
Tail, I guess, which might...
It is Shed Tail, which isn't great, but Heavy Slam and Body Press are both decent damage dealing options. It's got okay coverage. But, yeah, I don't know. Up and down on it. Hatterene, it's the best Trick Room setter, maybe. It's a good Trick Room setter, that's for sure. It has Magic Bounce, so it can't be taunted, except with Mold Breaker, and then I can run Ability Shield. Alternatively, you can run Covert Cloak when they don't have Mold Breaker taunt, so that they can't fake you out, and then you can still set Trick Room. But it's also very strong in Trick Room. In my VBL season, I've been using Hatterene, and Hatterene has been doing a lot of work. Hatterene is significantly slower and significantly stronger, and also a bit more bulky with a secondary stab in Fairy type, so that's quite good. Also, you may remember that there was like a Specs Hatterene that got bought against me, and that was pretty scary. That's still scary, so having that can be good. Strong Pokemon are good, it turns out. Mr. Terrific. I really like Mr. Terrific. He's very he's a good character.
Would you say he's
pretty good?
Pretty good.
I knew where you were going. Dude, I love Mr. Terrific and his T-spheres. It's just absolutely incredible. It says play hard on his jacket. It's very good. Floatzel is a rain abuser with I can rain dance with Sableye, but it's also a fast Snarl and Icy Wind option, which is convenient. It was pretty cheap. It hits like an absolute truck with Wave Crash or with Hydro Pump, which is pretty nice. Its coverage is not amazing, but it's not unusable, and I feel like it is one of the Pokemon that takes better advantage of Terra Blast because of how consistent its stab is, even without using the Terra offensively. Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, no, that does make sense. It's a very good Pokemon.
It's pretty reasonable.
I think
it's
it
7
was
points.
Very good. Yeah, I think it was a very good get. Like Floatzel it's just fucking strong, bro. Wave Crash
is a good move.
Yeah, Wave Crash is crazy. You got Prankster Rain Dance. This is good.
It's an option.
It's a fun little mode that your team has, because breaking things is fun. You've also it gives you a lot of ways you can go with a lot of weathers. Yeah, it's a fantastic Pokemon. Really like this gen, and I'm excited to see it go because it's not just power. It does have some sort of support stuff like a very fast Icy Wind and a very fast Snarl.
Oh, also he's Mr. Terrific because he's got like the water drops there and on his head and on his tummy.
What is Mr. Terrific's power?
He's tech guy and he has the T-spheres that he invented.
And what are the T-spheres?
They're like tech things that do nonsense.
Okay.
Like they just it's like I don't know, they do bullshit. What you it's like
yeah, but that's that really. I don't think there's that much to talk about with Floatzel because while it does have slightly more than just the rain thing, that's mainly what it is. The rain fucking destroyer.
Like imagine Batman's utility belt but sentient, or like...
It's also like some
autonomous.
much needed speed for this team, because your team was very slow before
I had
this.
Sandy Shocks.
Yeah, but that was it. It was like Sandy Shock and a bunch of trick
Orthworm.
Pokemon.
Orthworm's 90 speed.
What?
Orthworm is 90 speed.
No, it's not. It's 65, you liar.
Is it?
Yeah.
I swear I thought it was a lot slower, and then I looked at it, and then it was actually fast, and I was very
65.
confused. Is it 65? Okay.
It is slower than Onyx.
Slower than Onyx. That's, to be fair, many Pokemon are slower than Onyx. Okay, now we go to Sandman, which is, I guess Salt and Sand are not exactly the same thing. Also, another Pokemon guy I could not find a good render of. So you guys may be familiar with Sandman from the show Sandman, which is a very good show, and is about a very good character. But that's Mirage Sandman. This is DC Sandman. He uses sand. It's a gas mask for some reason. I'm pretty sure he has sand from the Sandman, like Dream of the Endless, who can put people to sleep with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the gun shoots sleepy sand. Oh, and apparently a blowtorch. Sandy the Golden Boy.
What?
That's his sidekick, apparently.
Okay. Well, I like that you stole my Pokemon.
Didn't I drop this first?
I doubt it.
This was just one of the most expensive Pokemon on the board, so I picked it up.
Yeah, it's another Trick Room threat.
It's got White Guard.
If you'd like to see some Garganacl, some really good Garganacl discussion, check out my video.
Right, yeah, Garganacl was totally what we were talking about at that point of the video.
Yeah, Garganacl is quite good. It's got a lot of sort of setup. Like it's got a lot of power. It's got a lot of bulk. It can do like Iron Defense Body Press. It can just kind of stall forever. It's just a lot of things it can do and a lot of angles to take it. It's good in Trick Room, which I think you've got a really strong Trick Room at this point. Yeah. This is a decent mod. What do you think? I know you've said a few things, but
I think that its Soul Cure set's pretty good, and then the offensive variants. Obviously, there's like the cheesy doubles OU explosion set, but you can also just like click Stone Edge with 100 base attack. It's not bad by any means. And it can be quite the switch up, because their Covert Cloak Pokemon is sacrificing a genuine defensive item for an item that has defensive utility, and that, you can definitely run both of them. I had it in a singles league for Ubers, and I thought it was pretty good running offensive variants there, so maybe that will also work here. Also, it's got good defense and body press, which I also said for Orthworm.
Yep.
But yeah, at this point I just kind of given up. I got sniped on Charizard.
He got sniped on a lot of Pokemon.
For all of the same reasons I previously stated. They were really good Pokemon that were really under-tiered, so people took them. Now we can go to Lucario, the Atom Smasher. I actually picked this guy up in post-season. In Grace Period.
Good, yeah.
It was originally Oricorio. Lucario was mildly better than Oricorio, but I think only slightly more expensive. Atom Smasher was, I am not joking, my favorite part of Black Adam.
Oh.
I like Cyclone as well. I think Cyclone and Black Adam. No, it really wasn't. Sorry.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
In Hobbs and Shaw. I've been looking back at it, and these days I'm even struggling to enjoy some like classic wrestling Rock, let alone The Rock has come back. But even I'm
telling you right now, there is one entire movie franchise that The Rock has actively improved, and that is
it's not Fast and Furious. No,
yes,
I was about to complain about Hobbs and Shaw and how I did. They have every single movie he's in. He has the exact same dynamic that they resolved in the previous movie recycled. It's so fucking boring.
There is no reason that like it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Fast and Furious got good when he showed up. It is not
Fast
a
and Furious was good when it was a Point Break knockoff for a movie. Fast and Furious was good when it was like Tokyo Drift. No, dude. Fast and Furious is not good now, and Fast and Furious was not good when The Rock was introduced.
Yes. Do not.
The films are not different.
Yes, they are. They're fucking ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, they were already that for 2 movies by the time The Rock came in.
No.
They're like
one. That's when it really got stupid.
No, they were
That's when they just turned into superheroes for no reason. They could just
they turned into superheroes after Tokyo Drift, man. I don't know what to tell you.
That was the 4th one. But like it wasn't leading into it. Then 5 came out, really leaned into it, and The Rock.
But no, every single movie he has the exact same dynamic and character change. Every single movie. And that really ruined Hobbs and Shaw, because the plot of the film they'd already had. Not only did The Rock have that with every single other fucking character in The Fast and the Furious, but he already had it with Shaw! Or was it Hobbs? No, I'm pretty sure he's Hobbs. He already had it with Jason Statham's character.
Yeah, just use the actors' names, bro. I'm gonna be honest.
Dude, I don't remember any of the other actors' names besides Ludacris and Vin Diesel.
Fucking Ludacris is just suddenly like a fucking gangster who can hack for no.
Oh yeah, they completely changed his character because he wasn't interesting in the previous thing. Oh yeah, also
That's so funny.
actually no, I cannot even remember the other guy's name. Paul Walker. Paul Walker. I mean, look, I love Point Break. Therefore, I am obligated to like Fast and the Furious 1.
It's so fucking funny. Just what Fast and Furious turned into, it's so funny.
It's just really, like, watching back the first film and just seeing it be Point Break.
But like
basically beat for beat, exactly Point Break.
Yeah, but with the car focus. But it was like...
Surfing and driving is not even... you know? But like, it's still just a heist, right? Like, it doesn't really matter that they're driving. You know? It's just Point Break. But no, I'm not a big fan. Just so much of the stuff is just dumb. The thing that made me particularly dislike it is people I know who specifically are like, cartoons are bad because they're not realistic, and then are in love with CG stuff that is just cartoons, but for adults.
I like cartoons.
Yeah, but I don't like. You know, you have plenty of bad opinions, so you know that isn't going to suddenly redeem it just because you have one good one.
What Fast and the Furious is live action anime. It's the best live action.
It's not. No. I would very strongly disagree. The best live action anime series of all time is the Rocky franchise, because that franchise is so fucking good and is just anime. That is entirely an anime franchise. In every single movie there, the worst movie is an 8 out of 10.
Live action shonen.
Dude, Rocky 5. But Rocky is just like a show, or maybe you could say it's a seinen. I don't know, but like Rocky 5 is like the worst Rocky movie, and it's an 8 out of 10, maybe 7.5 out of 10 on like a day when I'm feeling particularly down on it. Every Rocky movie is a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and then even you're like, oh well, the first 4 Fast and Furious movies weren't that good.
Because they're not what I want from. They're not what I want from the like.
Mind you,
they weren't anime enough. They're not what I want from fucking. You know.
Like it's not a good Point Break copy.
No, the Schadenfreud's not there. The stupidity's not there.
I mean, the stupidity is there. Just
Lucario is
the ludicrous one. Atom Smasher can grow large and hit stuff, and Lucario was good in Dynamax. Actually, Albert Rostein's quite a character. Again, my favorite bit of Black Adam was him. Like, I genuinely, the people I went to watch this film with, like, were looking at me when I was like squealing with excitement when like the Rock and him were like, it was good work. Like the Rock like appreciated him, and I'm like, it's the thing with the comics because they're really good friends in the comics, right, guys? It's the thing. Oh, and like. It was funny because, you know, I knew that Atom Smasher was going to be in the movie going into it, and then like all the things, I was like, oh, okay, so because this is like his first time introduced, because they were copying off a story that was not the introduction of Black Adam, and then in that story he like reaches out to Atom Smasher to tell the rest of the superhero community not to intervene. And he's like, okay, bro, I have respect for you, so I will do it. But in this one, he's like a new hero, but then he's supposed to have like. His suit is supposed to be like a hand-me-down, but it's like really nice, and it doesn't seem like a hand-me-down at all, which is a bit confusing, and it fits in perfectly. Yeah, I don't fully understand it. But it's good too. I quite like Atom Smasher. But Lucario has priority moves, which is good. I was told the Orphan was a bad steel type, so I picked up Lucario.
Yes, fair enough.
Wildcat. Wildcat is like the OG Justice Society guy. That's definitely what I kind of like mentally associate them with. I'm actually not sure if they were a founding member of the Justice Society, because I wasn't really reading comics in the 1950s. But he's just a boxer, and he boxes really hard. He might have superpowers. I genuinely don't think he does, but he might. I have no idea. And there's also Wildcat too, which I believe is his daughter. And they're still just both called Wildcat, which I feel like the only thing where both of the superheroes are named the same thing, the only one that really worked is Hawkeye and Hawkeye, because they're canonically both just absolute dumpster fires of like their life, so it works really well. But it's just kind of confusing when they're both called the same thing. It's like why in the comics when Thor, Jane Foster became the host of Thor, the other Thor just went by Odinson because that was also his name. But then they're just like Thor and Thor, or then they call her Jane Foster instead of Thor, even though she's Thor in the sense of like the mythological sense of it. It's very, very confusing. But yeah, Wildcat. Haunter is a ground immunity and a fairy resist. It's the same thing that Oricorio is. I got 2 of them. It's pretty fast, and it was good for 4 points. It's got a very strong special attack stat.
Yeah, basically. It's just got toxic spikes, so you can use that with Garganacl.
Does it?
I think it does.
Does Gengar get toxic spikes now?
I think so. Hopefully I'm not LARPing.
Dude, LARPing? I feel like you don't know what LARPing means. LARPing means live action roleplay. Normally when people are like describing someone as LARPing, it's when they are like...
yeah, it's got toxic spikes.
Huh, okay, that's a really weird change.
So that's cool.
Normally when someone is derisively saying that someone is LARPing, it's like, someone who is like grown up in, let's just say Sydney their entire life, but is like a devoted fan of like like a devoted Turkish nationalist or something. Despite the fact that they, haven't been in Turkey since they were 3 years old and very clearly just Australian. Like that's like LARPing, or actual LARPing is just role-playing in costumes. So I don't understand why you're using LARPing in a way that doesn't even seem tangentially related to the concept. Because I frequently use it as a derogatory term for people on Twitter who are exactly the Turkish individuals I was previously mentioning, who, again, are not really Turkish in any way, shape, or form. And really should be agitating for changes to Australia rather than Turkey, because again they're Australian. Wildcat. Cyclone was also in the movie. I thought she was pretty good in it, but she was barely in the movie. But all the bits where she was in were quite good. I really liked the visual effects. The actress learned a specific style of dance for the purposes of using the power, and I thought that was really cool. And she did it really well. I was very impressed. Again, I wish she got a little bit more time to shine. I didn't mind Alice Hodge, or I did mind The Rock. I really did mind The Rock. But I didn't mind them getting the opportunity to do stuff, and all of the times Pierce Brosnan were on screen were great. But I do feel like Cyclone and Atom Smasher were a bit underserved in that film. And I also really appreciate that they had like a great fan art of her. I think it's really good.
Yeah, that's a good art. Jumpluff
has Tailwind and Dual Screens.
Yeah, it's got Tailwind, it's got Dual Screens, it's like
Hoppip,
Powder,
but
it's got Sleep Powder.
9 points.
It's got, Pull and Puff, it's got Encore, it's got
Grass Knot.
Helping Hand, it's got Grass Knot, it's got every single move you could possibly want it to have.
It doesn't have Fisher,
really
I checked.
Good. It has so many options, it's a fantastic Pokemon, and I'm really high on it in Gen 9.
Getting Tailwind was a very big change for it. Also, I think it fits quite well with Cyclone, even if the colors are literally the only ones that are not in Cyclone's repertoire. The whole like moving in the wind as to shift the wind is also like Tailwind. It's like using Tailwind being the pollen puff. The pollen Pokemon that is very much carried about by the wind, but taking advantage of it for itself. I thought that was a very good aesthetic combination. So I was a big fan of it. I like Jumpluff. I always just thought it was a really well-designed Pokemon. Also, its single sets were very funny. The sub Leech Seed Encore sleep pattern, very powerful.
Yeah.
You could Encore people into Sleep Talk, and then they wake up and they're still clicking Sleep Talk.
Oh, that's genius.
So yeah, that's cool. Then Obsidian. I had to get a really, really crappy. I mean, not crappy. Crappy is not the right word, but it's very much not a comic thing. Like this was some fan art that someone did, I think, in like a system that is designed to, have like a base model that is then adapted to. So basically, how Wojaks are made. Again, I feel really mean to the person who made this. I'm glad that they actually provided something, because God, there's not much in it for Obsidian out there, and there's like even worse, significantly worse model render versions of Obsidian than were there. And Obsidian is Cloyster, because Obsidian turned into like a ball at one point, and they were like a MacGuffin. It was very confusing, and that's also like what the inside of Cloyster is. And then when the shell smashes, it gets very strong.
There you go. It works. Yeah.
Cloyster's mostly here to click Life Chew.
Okay.
It's also my counter to Urshifu because of its access to the ability Shell Armor, which means that it cannot be critical hit. And it has a very high physical defense stat. Man, the dead air must be so much worse for you who cannot hear the background music than it is for myself or the audience.
I'm so tired.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, look tired. Okay. So
not as dead as yourself, but yeah.
Yeah. No, like
I love
so
Obsidian Entertainment. Really... They made all of my favorite games, such as that game they made.
New Vegas.
Oh yeah, that was the New Vegas one, wasn't it? Did they did they produce Sacred?
They also did Outer Worlds.
Was that good? No, Pillars of Eternity. That was quite good. Pillars of Eternity 2. That was not quite as good. Tyranny. Tyranny is such a goddamn good game. Neverwinter Nights. Oh, KOTOR.
I remember when I started.
Dude, KOTOR 2.
Yeah.
Why are we talking about like? I mean, Outer Worlds is probably fine, but why are we talking about like mediocre games like Fallout New? I mean, no, Fallout New Vegas is obviously a very good game.
Yeah, you're really gonna try to bait me like that.
Fallout 2. Apparently, according to this, they made Dungeons and Dragons, but does that mean Dungeons and Dragons Online?
Presumably.
No, it just says they own Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, there you go.
I'm pretty. It was just Neverwinter Nights 2 they made. Okay, both of them are quite good. Oh, and Pentiment, dude, Pentiment. Have you played Pentiment?
No.
Dude, it is absolutely worth checking out.
Yeah.
It has a good story and it has super fun games on top of that. But also, it has like the aesthetic. It's also itself story in a way that's really interesting. So like, it's about the introduction of print to like the writing as like a job, right? And the characters you see often there are like the player character, because he's more modern, is in like a more modern art style. But then the characters who were like lifelong scribes who predated like the Gutenberg and all that are like still portrayed in like a very old style. And then there's like an Ethiopian character, and he's portrayed in a style which is very reminiscent to a lot of the religious art that you see in the the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And it's just an absolutely beautiful masterpiece, as well as the game being very solid. Would very strongly recommend Pentiment. Somehow I completely forgot that Obsidian made it.
Yeah, there you go. To talk about the Pokemon a bit, I just looked up, like, I don't know what it really does for you, bro, but it's
I guess an offensive option.
Yeah.
I needed another win condition.
I suppose,
I was really struggling to have win conditions. Also, I wanted the water resist.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had two water resists at this point. One of which was Jumpluff.
Fake out and stuff, so it probably can occasionally.
Floatzel.
Just
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got Rage Powder and Fake Out. So I had Floatzel and Jumpluff. Though it wasn't actually Jumpluff, it was Serena at the time. Oh, Serena, sorry, I dropped Serena for Jumpluff. I forgot to mention that. And that was how I got that. So Cloyster, yeah, was a water resist that had a high physical defense stat, because my other ones had a good, decent special defense.
Yeah, that's fair. In terms of this whole team, I quite like it. It's just a tail room team.
You don't want to lose to the opposing Floatzel Wave Crash when they bring Ditto.
Like, I think our vibe is tail room, and I think this is a good tail room team, but it's also got some manual weather setting options.
It's got a very immediate offense, which is one of the great things about Cloyster is that if you slap a Scarf on it, or position it otherwise with speed control, it's someone that can feasibly trade 1-for-1 on turn 1, which a lot of other Pokemon cannot, and you can't counterplay it with Focus Sash, though obviously it has a worse matchup into Pinch Berries and Citrus Berry as a result of doing multiple hits, then they proc between hits. But also having an offensive Ice type is great. Also, I can proc Weakness Policy on probably some Pokemon. On Sandy Shocks, there we go. It probably dies. I also have Quash with Sableye, which can be convenient.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Cloyster isn't the best pick, but there are a lot of Pokemon that are cheap that I could Transactive for if it turns out not to be good.
Yeah, it's not like a draw.
I just really wanted to use it for a long time.
Yeah. No, it's not bad.
Yeah. So Obsidian, Cyclone, Wildcat, Atom Smasher, Sandman, Mr. Terrific, Jade, Power Girl, Liberty Belle, Dr. Fate, and Lightning. Probably not my ideal Justice Society adaptation, though obviously I'd really like to see Lightning, and probably also Thunder in it. Back from the show. I was sorry to hear that it cancelled. I was really hoping that it would still be running when it came to Australia. I thought Pierce Brosnan was fine as Dr. Fate, not particularly good. But they did a lot of I would say that film was very Fast and Furious-y. Black Adam. They did a lot of nonsensical bullshit, and they had fun using comic book powers in comic booky ways as well as in filmy ways. It just wasn't very good. Which is also my problem with the Fast and Furious movies. And then Liberty Belle. I mean, I would like to see Johnny Quick and Liberty Belle in a Justice Society movie. Definitely, you need to have Wildcat. Power Girl deserves an adaptation. I think Obsidian and Jade you can probably save. I probably wouldn't even bother putting Green Lantern in. I love Alan Scott, but just it's a bit confusing for people, and Green Lantern doesn't have the most positive association with film as it currently stands. Mr. Terrific is absolutely key. I don't think you can make a Justice Society movie without Mr. Terrific or using a different character to replace him. Sandman, I think, is probably pretty easy to put into the film because of his whole mysterious visage. It's very easy to have him function as a character without having to dedicate much screen time with him. You just have him do weird, quirky stuff and turn up at relevant times. Atom Smasher is obviously pre-established for the films, like I said, with Dr. Fate, as well as Cyclone. And I think Albert Rostein's great, though I feel like you can't... they already have Atom Smasher without having had Adam, which is a bit weird because he changed his name to that after Adam died. But, oh well. Wildcat, pretty core as well. Cyclone is already in the movies. I'd be more than happy to see her come back. And then... like I said, Obsidian and Jade probably don't need to be in it. So, ultimately, this was actually me, and I think you can tell by how I was talking about this Justice Society stuff that they really do need to, people really do need to come to appreciate the fact that X and Y was mostly a commentary on the Protestant Reformation.
Yeah, and communism again.
Why is it? What is it with you and communism? You are completely incapable. You're so anachronistic with this stuff, man. I just want something which is in the right time scale. You can at least go with the decline of moralism or something. The beginnings of serfdom in Russia.
I mean, I do love some serfs. That is correct.
What about the consolidation of
Manchu
tribes?
Serfs up. I often say serfs up.
Indeed you do, much to my chagrin. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Keith, for coming along.
I think you should... I predict, by the way, that you're going to go 7-2.
Is it 9 weeks long?
I don't know.
Thanks,
so.
Mod.